Hi, welcome to the Stitch TV show. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Pam. We're happy you're joining us today. The Stitch is an online quilting talk show, the perfect soundtrack for your sewing room. Join us as we talk about super fun topics, current projects, stuff going on, other things, teleprompters catching up, fun stories about our quilts.
Our episodes come out twice a month, complemented by virtual stitch-ins, celebrity interviews, and podcasts. You can learn more about us at thestitchtvshow.com.
Our show today is brought to you by Ink and Arrow Fabrics, a division of QTFabrics. And it's very exciting because we are hosting a giveaway of stuff.
I'm so excited. I want it.
Well, too bad. You can't have it.
Yeah.
So we are giving away a bundle of 6 fat quarters from the Paloma line, featured behind us and all around us, and a yard of the coordinating pixie dot. So the Rafflecopter entry will be on our blog post for the show notes for this episode, and the giveaway closes August 9th. So go forth and enter to win fabric. We will ship internationally.
Oh, wow.
So super fancy.
Yes.
And also, I succumbed to the cuteness.
Because it's hard not to.
And I bought my own fat quarter bundle of Mingle and Jingle.
Which I love. There are so many great prints in this.
Yes, but you can't have it.
I know. I was like, where did we get this? She's like, it's mine.
Mine.
It was very much a...
Okay, there is...
fabric hoarding moment.
One of the prints is like little portraits.
Super cute.
And there's an elf in here named Elphys.
Really?
Like Elvis. I caught that, Alicia.
Well, there's Alfred, which
Yes.
is kind of fun.
But that reminds me of...
cute. Dashy.
Dashy, yeah. So, super cute, you guys. Enter the giveaway. Go check out Ink and Arrow at inkandarrow.com.
But the Ink and Arrow, the giveaways for Paloma. This is
not
like
my fabric.
Pam's hoard.
Precious.
I'm feeling like Stitch is guarding it for
Possibly.
you. There you go.
Why is he giving Vinny the stink eye?
Well, because that's what he does. He's tracking.
Okay. All right, what are we talking about today, Lynn?
We're talking about the value of value. And we're also talking about our judges' notes on the quilt entries that we had for our local quilt show. We're joined by Emilio, which is the new pattern in our line. Emilio is made from the fabric of the Paloma line by June B for Ink and Arrow. So, and we will have that pattern out soon.
It will already be out by the time this episode
Oh,
comes
that's
out.
right. See, out my head. Yeah, you're right. It will.
We got a little Doctor Who TARDIS moment happening where we
Yes.
film and then they go up later.
Right. It's
Ta-da.
like in the future. We're in the future right now.
We are in the future. It's amazing, guys. There's jetpacks, flying cars, like redonk.
So, what's up? What have you been doing?
We just took a class.
We took one together. We don't always take classes together, but we enjoyed it. We didn't cause trouble.
Not a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
I did cause the teacher to look at my color selection and say, "Boy, that's cheerful," which is code for "my retinas are burning."
I don't think that was true. I don't think that's what he thought.
That's what he meant. Anyway, the class was with Bill Kerr of Modern Quilt Studio.
Oh my gosh, it was incredible.
So we took the transparency quilt class together.
So we could see our quilts disappear,
Yes.
become transparent. Actually, that wasn't it.
No.
Had
We don't
nothing
have
to do with it.
invisible quilts like Wonder Woman's jet.
That would be so cool, though.
What
Like
would be
invisible quilts.
Well, isn't that just called like heat?
That's called Atlanta outside.
Melty.
Melty humidity.
So, transparency quilts is about creating the illusion of transparency based on color and value and saturation.
Yes. And so the book that they wrote, as well as the class itself, kind of lets you take 3 pieces of fabric and kind of lay them on top of each other to where the one in the middle looks like, the illusion is that you see through the top fabric to the bottom fabric, and the one in the middle is what that would look like.
No, that is not an actual
This
example
is
of what
not
it should look
yeah, this would be a fail transparency. But it was interesting to look at fabric that way and go, okay, how can I trick the eye?
Right.
And I mean, we do it, and it gave depth to the quilt that without that value or transparency, you wouldn't have gotten. So it was a real interesting class, and he was incredibly
Oh, yeah.
informative, open to tell you whatever you needed to know. Just really incredible teacher. I did end up taking the class on Saturday too. So I ended up taking 2 days of his classes, and I just feel like I got so much great information.
I think we
So
both wanted to go sneak and enroll in the university he regularly lectures at.
yes.
Like,
Oh, I
just
so would.
listen.
Yes. And listen. Yeah, totally. But he teaches design at a university. So
Yes, for sure.
anyway,
So that ties in well with our first topic, the value of value. Perfect tie-in for Bill Kerr's class, as well as the pattern behind us and value. So, Lynn, take a shot. Describe what value is.
value to me is what gives depth to the quilt. It's the change in the color saturation that would give you different intensity of color. Contrast, yeah, but intensity of color. So, you can look at a light gray to a black or white to a black, and there's all different shades of gray, and that gives you value compared to one shade to the other shade of gray or hue or tint of gray. But it gives depth to a quilt, and for me, value is dependent upon what it's next to, whether it's darker or
Right.
lighter. You don't look at like these two would be hard to determine the value of, although you can, because this is a lighter than this is. It's going to read lighter than this does. But, it may be darker than this, depending upon, what it's sitting next to.
Right. So it's more about the contrast
It's
with
the
the neighboring
contrast.
fabric.
Yeah, with other fabrics that are in the quilt.
Yes. Because it doesn't matter if you... So I do a lot of quilts that are similar value, sometimes intentionally, sometimes because I'm bad at it. This one was intentional. I had a couple that I did that I'm like, ooh, that doesn't work at all. Whoops.
Yeah, sometimes you get fooled, I think. Like,
Yeah.
you'll make a quilt and go, wow, that
We were like,
could
well,
have...
I got a blue and I got a green, and to me, well, they're different colors. Oh, but they're the same value.
But they're the same intensity of color. So,
Yeah.
yeah, saturation of color.
So
Yeah.
how would one check for value differences?
Well, it's funny. I asked Bill Kerr this question in class, and he didn't like the way I did it. So I can tell you how I did it, but he disagrees with me. How I check for value is I will take a picture of a quilt with my iPhone, and then I will go into the editing function, and I will change that color of the quilt to black and white, or I think it's called
Grayscale.
grayscale or monotone
Yeah.
is the filter. And then when you look at the picture in that filter, you see what colors read darker and what colors read lighter. And then that shows you the range of value. And that's how I do it. But Bill Kerr stressed that there's really no separation between saturation and value. He really kind of spoke of those as almost one entity. They're not, but spoke of it as one entity. And I have to admit, that's still like being bubbling around in my brain, trying to grasp what this is, because we just don't talk about saturation like we do value.
So if you look at a royal blue, and to make it less saturated, you add white to that.
Right.
And you end up with a light blue. And to make it more saturated, is that the right?
No. There's no. It's just
Blue
desaturation.
It's
just
desaturation towards a light blue or towards a navy blue.
right. It's all desaturation. So, if you think about it as a bucket of paint and it's a pure red hue, and anything you add to it desaturates that color.
Yes.
Because if you add white, it desaturates it to a lighter saturation of red. If you add black, it desaturates it to a darker saturation of red. So it's desaturated, and it changes the pureness of the color, which is really kind of what value does in a lot of ways too. it's a desaturated color,
Mm-hmm.
which would give you that value contrast. So, and he was really funny about, we kind of assign things to, well, this is pink. Oh, no, it's really
Light
desaturated red, it's not pink. Which I thought was interesting, kind of to think of. We've assigned colors names that we're comfortable with just culturally.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, but in realistic, how you make that
academic
is,
terms.
yeah, kind of thing. So it was fascinating. The other thing that I think value does is it lets your eye move around a quilt better than if it's all one value. Like if it's all one value, you force yourself to look. But if it's got different value, it lets you move around the quilt because it's what's popping out to you. So a more pure saturated or a higher value contrast you're going to look at naturally, and things will fade into a background.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to put things in the background where you don't, if it's all one saturation or all one value. So
what if, in the case, it's a very flat value for the most part?
This is
because they're all very intense colors.
These are intense colors. These are like same saturation. There's a couple that are a little bit different.
Yeah,
like
the green kind of stands out.
Yeah.
So how would one then draw a distinction in the quilt? So the way that I tried to do it here is with different quilting designs and different parts.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
And in particular, because our last episode, we showed this as one of the examples of, hey, how would you quilt this? And then I actually had to go and quilt it.
Right, so we could hang it up.
Ta-da! Ta-da! So one of the things that I had done was mix up the quilting designs. So the green that make these vertical lines all got like an orange peel design in there with a green thread. Everything that wasn't, I think this part got, because there's a little bit of a vertical line here. This part also got orange peel, but with an orange thread. And it's hard to see from far away. Like I'm sure
when you get
YouTube
up close,
when you get up close, you can see it. And then I did just some zigzag lines here to go back and forth, kind of still keeping this vertical line going. And when I got to these big blocks, honestly, this was such a gorgeous print that I just went and outlined the shapes with the thread
really
color.
Cool what you did.
Yeah,
I really like that.
If I had done like fillers in the background here, it would pop more.
Yes, it would have.
Nobody got time for that.
I would have done that.
You can still go back and do it.
Oh yeah, you totally can.
You can use an orange thread and just fill in.
Like micro quilting.
Yep.
But this is very much same saturation, same value. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's what I like about it.
So, yeah, exactly. So you can't say that my quilt doesn't have enough value. Well, did you want it to? So, I mean, if you wanted it to and it doesn't have enough value, then go back to the drawing board and say, okay, how can I make this differently? But if you want it to be this saturation and that's what the look you're going for, then congratulations, you did a great job.
Now, I will say the benefit of having the sameness of value on adjacent pieces is that it don't matter if your points are cut off because you can't see them. And why is that, Lynn? Edge.
Edge is important. We learned about edge too. Edge is super important.
How you apply edge and what your desired edge is. So edge is the difference, and we talked about it on our latest virtual stitch-in, the difference in contrast between two pieces. So this has edge, red edge, light blue edge.
And you can see the edge.
Yes. Now, you put it next to the little tiny scarf here. Less edge in this area, still edge here. It's how that fabric reads. It maybe bleeds over.
It's how it bumps into it.
Yeah.
So it looks like somebody took a bite out of it. Actually, the red kind of thing.
So for this particular pattern for Emilio, I did another sample that was all
Strong
black,
edge.
white, and gray to show like, oh, here's what the piecing actually looks like.
Right.
So it's a much different look. And then I did a third one as a shop sample that was same fabric from a same line, but all had very different color and even changes in value between them. So it really, how you apply color and value and edge when a quilt really changes how it reads.
And you know what? I think that honestly is a great study for anybody to do. I've done it. Like I needed to make a bunch of children's quilts for cousins that were being born and my niece and nephew and stuff. So I had 5 quilts that I needed to make. So in order to save time for myself, and because I hate doing this, I hate making the same stuff twice. I really do. So what I did is I took one pattern. It was one of those 3-yard patterns, super simple pattern, but I put each quilt had three yards of a very different theme, because they were kids. So I did a Tinkerbell one, I did a Cars one, I did a Pirate one, and there was another Cars one, but it wasn't the Disney Cars, and because I had to do 2 Cars. Because I showed my nephew the original Cars one, and he went, "That's not Cars," because it wasn't the Disney print. It was just these generic little cars, and he didn't like that. And then I did, so I had to make him a different one.
Brand snob.
Yeah. He was like 4 and he was really into cars. Disney cars. And then Disney cars specifically. And then I forget what the other one was. But it was fascinating to me how all 5 of these quilts were made from the same pattern, but had very different looks according to the fabric you would chose to put in them. And I just think that's a great study for someone to be comfortable with. I don't have to do, the kit or the whatever. Right. Not that those aren't great. Those are awesome. And I think if you're a beginning quilter and you go to the store and buy a kit and you get it done, congratulations. You did a great job.
Oh, yeah. Well, and lots of times I'm drawn to a kit because of the fabric in it. The pattern also has to be appealing, but I save all those patterns.
Oh, yeah.
And I have remade some kits.
I mean, I have to admit, as much as I don't like doing things over and over again, those 3-yard patterns are kind of my go-to choices for those quick baby quilts or, kid quilts that you need to make kind of thing. I use those a lot. But I did want to say, too, sometimes when you're looking at value and like a pattern line, and I think designers are really good at this, not every pattern in the line is the star.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you've got some patterns that are the focal pattern or the pattern that's got all the colors in it.
The feature print.
The feature print. Right. And you need some fabrics in your quilt a lot of times that aren't stars. They're background singers. And you don't have to like them as much. You don't. Like sometimes I put, fabric in my quilts that I really don't like as much as I do some of the other. You don't have to love every fabric that's in your quilt because you almost need that to, let the others shine. And I think that helps give you value too, a lot of times because the focal prints are much more, 9 times out of 10, a lot of focal prints are more saturated and, have more things going on in them. So,
yep.
Sometimes I think they're the hardest to use.
Oh, yeah. Well, in part too, because lots of times the focal prints are in bigger scale.
Yeah.
And in traditional patterns, we're used to like chopping things up. You're like, oh, now I've got like a quarter of someone's face.
Yeah. I mean, you could cut Elvis's head off.
I know. Yeah. That's not cool.
Yeah. So, but that being said, you still need that to maybe tie everything else together.
Yeah. Thematically, and lots of times, and I think you've done this, you get your big focus print and you use that as color inspiration. And so you pull in prints from the same line, but you don't want to cut it up. So what you do is leave the big piece and put it on the back of the quilt.
That's what I've done.
So you can just look at your nice big uncut chunk.
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
I have. And honestly, one of the quilts I did, and it's a Lone Star quilt. I found this fabric. I love the color combination in fabric. It was a big print. I bought 3 yards of it because I thought, I'm going to do this Lone Star quilt. I'm going to pull the colors from the fabric to create my star, and then this will be my border. Honey, I put that on the border, and I went, oh, no. It was awful. So I've got 3 yards of this fabric that will now be part of the back. Because the star looks great, but when I put the border on it, it just went.
It competed.
It competed against it, and not that there was anything wrong with the border. It's just I used a lot of solids in my star, and it just was too busy compared to what the star was. It just didn't look right. So I was like, well, there goes that idea. Nice job for fabric inspiration. But the quilt's gorgeous. I need to quilt it.
Hey, was that the one on the stitch-in last night?
No, that's another one. I need to quilt. I know. I got 2 Lone Stars I need to quilt. I've made 4 of them. And I've said I don't like making the same thing twice. But the color combination's been different and stuff. So. Okay, I know. I'm a dichotomy. My poor husband can't figure out. Yes, no, I don't know what I want. Really. It's bad.
She's an enigma wrapped in a mystery.
That's right. And Mike's laughing. Anyway.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, show you some close-ups of Emilio. Pattern now available at shop.thestitchtvshow.com, and we'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back. We are going to talk about judges' comments. So, we just had a quilt show, and we both submitted 3 quilts. We were lucky that all of our quilts got juried in. There were
Lucky.
No, it went through the jurying process.
Just kidding, guys.
So no, it was qualified. So there were 450 quilts entered. There were 338 quilts that got juried into our show. And what happens is there's a team of people that come and look at all the quilts that are entered, and all they have to look at is photographs. And they can't look at a category, and they're judging a category, jurying a category, to see how many they can keep in. Now, honestly, the only reason we jury our local quilt show is because of space. That we don't have enough space to hang as many quilts as we'd like to hang. So that's one of the reasons we had to jury out quilts. Not because they were awful. Now, you enter a national show, it's because they're awful.
Or maybe less awful than the ones that got in.
Yes.
Or more awful than the ones that got in.
So part of the quilt journey is you're once you're juried in, then you send your quilt in or drop it off, and it goes through a judging process. So our show had 2 certified judges, and they look at all the quilts in that category. So our quilts weren't entered in the same category. Not all of them were.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So they look at all the quilts in that category, and they award first, second, and third place, and then they'll award honorable mentions. Also, there are some other awards like Best of Show, Best Domestic Machine, Best Long Arm Computerized, and Long Arm Free Motion.
Production staff is like taking a snooze. Like, so tired of this show after 2 years.
True. That is.
It's awesome.
It's going great, guys. Really love
Anyway, we're going to go. So, Pam and I we don't have to do this.
We ain't got nothing going on.
So, Pam and I have our judges' comments of what they said about our quilts.
Yes.
So,
Hit
you
it.
want me to go first?
You're going one here.
Okay,
I will
so
hold the picture up.
It's apparently stapled, so you have to hold the whole thing.
Okay.
All right. So, this is, and we haven't hung this behind us yet, but we will in a future episode. But this is called "Coffee Is Not My Cup of Tea." It was entered in the piece large category, so it was a large piece quilt. Now, on the judge's comment, and I guess I can send you to include in the notes, like what I'm getting ready to read. So for visual impact, okay, so they can only give answers for this list of stuff that I'm getting ready to tell you. Excellent, very good, good, satisfactory, needs improvement. That's it. So when I say visual impact, it's going to be either excellent, very good, good, satisfactory, or needs improvement. Okay, so for visual impact, I got very good. Yay me. For design, degree of difficulty, I got good. Complexity of design, very good. Creativity, very good. Quilting design, which means it enhances the top, uniform distribution is sufficient, very good. Workmanship, these are the things in workmanship. Applique techniques, I got NA, which means there wasn't any applique on it, which is true. There's not.
A+ judges.
Good job, judges. You didn't miss that. Piecing techniques, I got a satisfactory. Wah, wah, wah. But it was hand pieced, which they didn't notice. So I was like, whatever. And by the time I was done with this thing, I was like, I don't care. Let's slap this thing together.
D for done.
D for done. Special techniques, there were not any, so I got NA. And finishing techniques, I got good. So I was good on finishing. Now, the judges always give a couple of comments. So these are the comments that I got on mine. Wonderful collection of a wide variety of prints. Lights, darks, and brights positioned well across the quilt. Piece border frames center well. Quilting motifs are well chosen, but the density of the quilting is not uniform across the quilt. Which honestly, she didn't like that I left some stuff blank, but I did it on purpose. So I was like, well, that's her choice. I wanted it that way. I wanted the dimension. Backtracking and pivoting could be smoother, which is true. Because I finished this literally 6 hours before I turned it in.
Yeah.
It was bad. Held up well under stiff competition, which means, in secret judges' terms, that they considered it for a ribbon, but it didn't get one. So, but that I was pleased with it. I mean, they didn't tell me anything I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah. Like I knew some of the points were jacked up. Seriously.
All right. So my first one is the Nope quilt, which we've hung behind us before. I don't have a printed picture of it. I just had like the quarter of one piece, the quilt, which wouldn't make a lot of sense here. So as a refresher, it is got a big old bright blue center, and I appliqued the word Nope on it.
Yep.
And then it's got a bunch of different bright colored fat quarters that form the border. So visual impact, very good.
Oh, good.
Degree of difficulty, satisfactory. Like, yeah, it was kind of like, here's a big old centerpiece. Ta-da. Complexity of design, satisfactory. Yeah, all right. Creativity, very good. Nope. Quilting design, good. Applique pieces, very good, which means my nope was good.
Your nope was good.
Piecing techniques
and they
were
didn't
good.
see I cannot on the back.
No, they couldn't see that. Piecing and quilting techniques were both good. No special techniques. And then finishing techniques, corners, borders, whatever, satisfactory. Like, yeah, not surprised. I think I machine bound it, so I'm not surprised at that.
Oh, did you machine bind that one?
I machine bind everything.
Oh.
Unless I know it's going to be in a show.
I don't machine bind everything.
Part of our challenge and knew would be a pattern, so I just
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so my comments are, quilting motifs in center of quilt add texture and interest. Quilt should lay flat. Yeah, it should.
And it doesn't. But we're okay with it.
Oh, even in the picture, you could see it's like wavy at the bottom. Like, whip, all right. And good control of machine quilting.
Which is true.
So thank you, dinner plates, for being lovely templates for those big round nope symbols.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, this is a bad picture of Diamonds Are Forever.
Yeah, it's a little off color.
It's very off color. So it was printed. It was printed by the person else. And I think they were running out of ink. So Diamonds Are Forever, which is our same challenge. So they didn't know that it was the same.
Related. Because yours was in modern. Mine was in pieced small.
Yeah, this got entered into modern. Visual impact, very good. Degree of difficulty, good. I was like, seriously? There's a lot of diamonds in that. Complexity of design, very good. Creativity, very good. Quilting design, excellent. Which yay me. Applique techniques, not of an NA, because there weren't any. Piecing techniques, very good. I did much better on my points on this one, just FYI. Quilting techniques, good. Special techniques, NA, because there weren't any. And finishing techniques, very good. I didn't machine bind mine.
You're
turned
legit.
it. I turned
phoned
it
it
to the
in.
back.
I don't got a problem with that.
Effective design with shapes in a variety of compatible fabrics and colors. They didn't see that it was exact same
fabrics that I used.
She used. Quilting motifs and hence piecing well. Could use a little more quilting in a few areas to hold down design. Now, this again is just the same judge judged this one as judged the previous one. And this is where I just disagree with them from the standpoint of I purposely left out quilting to get dimension. And I did it what I felt was an artistic way, but they missed it.
Nope.
So they didn't get it. But now that being said, it got an honorable mention ribbon. So it did get a ribbon. So I was pretty happy about that.
All
right. This one I love. I love this one.
This is my Hogwarts required reading. It's the Harry Potter bookshelf quilt that I did, and we've hung it in an episode before. So this was in pieced large. So in theory, it competed with Coffee Is Not My Cup of Tea. So visual impact,
excellent. Yeah. It's great.
Degree of difficulty, very good. I'm sorry, did you see this bananas dragon up here at the top?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, all right. Complexity of design, good. Yeah, I'm like, it's a bookshelf. Yeah, okay. Creativity.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the bookshelf.
Well, that's why creativity.
Excellent.
Quilting design satisfactory. Okay. What I feel like that is probably on the background. Were I to do it over and not be exhausted from working on this quilt for a year, I would have quilted the background, because right now it's just a meander. I would have done something that looked more like fancy wallpaper design.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been awesome. Cool. But I didn't do that.
You can take it out and do it.
Oh, I could.
Just say it. You could. You totally could.
Okay. Applique technique's good. And I looked at this and thought, it's all paper pieced. And then Lynn reminded me, oh no, I have like that one applique birdcage thing holding in the Cornish pixie. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yay me. Piecing techniques, very good. Hooray. Quilting techniques, satisfactory. And here I know I had some tension issues that I could see from the back.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't notice. They noticed.
They noticed. They totally gonna notice stuff.
Special techniques. Finishing techniques needs improvement. Because again, if you look at the bottom, wavy, machine bound, so tired of working on it. Totally going to own that. Okay. Comments. Wonderful variety of elements to enjoy.
Yes.
Outside edges should be straight. Yes, they should. Fabrics well chosen and thoughtfully placed.
And just so you know, this is how the judges see that. When they lay the quilts out on the table, all the quilts are lined up to an edge of the table. So as soon as your quilt is revealed to the judge, they look at that edge. And if it's not lined up to the edge of that table, they can tell if it's, yeah. So they see that real quick.
So yeah, unless it's intentionally scalloped, your edges should be straight.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't have a good picture of Bonkers, which is what we hung behind us a couple of episodes ago. So it's the Alice in Wonderland Tea Party quilt. And you can see that. So this was entered in special techniques. And the reason I entered it in special techniques and not art is because we got a lot of great artists in our guild. And I didn't want to compete against them, but they were being smart too. So a lot of the great artists in our guild entered theirs into special techniques also. So that didn't help me. My strategy of trying to do well didn't work on that. So and what else? The reason I put it in special techniques is because it's a whole cloth quilt. It doesn't have any piecing in it whatsoever. It is one piece of fabric that is thread painted. Thread painted. Just saying.
Hold that in your minds
in your minds for a minute. So visual impact, I got excellent. Degree of difficulty, very good. Complexity of design, very good. Creativity, excellent, which I was happy about. Quilting design, excellent. Workmanship, applique techniques, NA. Piecing techniques, NA, because it's a whole cloth, so nothing was pieced. The backing was pieced, but that doesn't count in the whole cloth quilt. Quilting techniques were good. Special techniques, including, and I'm reading this for you just so you see. Special techniques including embroidery, photo transfer, trapunto, beading, and other embellishments. I got excellent on. Finishing techniques, corners, borders, bindings, edging, I got satisfactory, which I was like, I thought that was okay, but I need to go back and look. Maybe I didn't square it up right. I don't know. So here's their comment. Apparently. You do get to a point in a quilt, though, you're like, I am so done. So my comments were excellent, exciting combination of word embroidery and quilting. Quilt design truly completes the piece. Binding should be consistent in widths. Oh, that was my binding. I don't know. I pull too hard and it doesn't give the... They want the width on the back of your quilt to be very consistent. And I'm not good at turning it to the back and making it that consistent. This is the one that got me, though. This is the comment that makes me a little like crazy. Good control of machine embroidery. What? It was thread painted. There's no machine embroidery on it. Machine had nothing to do with it. Lynn had everything to do with it. I was not a happy camper. And I was in the judge's room. I had to look like totally like, and my strategy is when they're talking about your quilt, because you can't let them know, one, it's your quilt, or two, that you're even remotely connected to it. So I just try to look pissed off. Like, I'm like trying to be mad and whatever. Just to kind of go, okay, I'm listening, but I'm just making sure everything's good.
It's your intense thinking face.
It's my intense thinking face, yes. So, but the quilt did hold up well under stiff competition, and it didn't get a ribbon from the judges. But that being said, one of the special ribbons that we have in our quilt show is during the preview party, all the quilters vote for their favorite quilt, and it did get Quilters Choice ribbon. So I got the ribbon from all the quilters. So I was like, well, that's better than the judges who got it wrong. You may be watching this show. Love you. See you next week. When I come to the judging, I decided after this show that I'm going to be a certified judge.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the classes and be more informed than I currently am about judging.
I am going to continue to judge unofficially and from afar.
I'm going to get paid. Yay me to make comments. And I can get stuff wrong too, because honestly, seriously, I mean, I'm ticked that they got it wrong. But that being said, they're looking at your quilt for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes tops. So they're trying to make decisions. And I would assume that there may be a lot of people who do put machine embroidery on quilts that they see and judge. And if it's as good as machine embroidery, then yay me, because it wasn't. So that means I'm as good as machine. I don't know that.
Congratulations on being the future robot overlord, Lynn.
Yes, exactly. I don't know if that works.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is your last one.
So my last one was No Regrets, which we showed a couple episodes ago. It was just published in Make Modern issue 16, I think.
I don't know.
Something
I know
like
it was
that.
published in Make Modern.
Make Modern.
I don't know what the issue was.
So it was in the combination category, which means it had a balance of piecing and applique. So visual impact was good. Degree of difficulty, very good. Complexity of design, creativity, and quilting design, all very good.
Because she's very good.
Applique techniques, good. Piecing techniques, very good. Quilting techniques, very good.
Very good.
No special techniques. And then finishing techniques, very good, which kind of made up for my other two where I phoned it in. And this one I paid attention to on the binding because I'm like, shoot, it's going in a magazine. I can't be jacking it up. So that one I actually knew, like, oh, I will enter this in a show and a magazine. So I felt okay about that.
You took your time with it.
Yeah, took my time with it. And it's 28 by 30 inches, so it's way easier to hand bind than like freaking
coffee is not my cup of tea,
Hogwarts retired
like
reading.
98 by 98 or whatever.
Like a full-size quilt. Bananas.
Ugh.
Okay, so comments. Clever idea. Yes, it is.
Yes, it was funny.
Asymmetrical set is effective. Good fabric choices. This comment kills me. Might benefit from value enhancements in center. Yes, I agree. Because between the pink words and the green banner, there's not a lot of value contrast.
No, it's almost plastic in that it vibrates.
Yes. So, totally agree with that. Some bobbin tensions noted. Yeah, I did too.
They are there.
Totes noted that myself, and then thought, well, gonna bind this and be done with it.
You could take it out. I said that in the last one.
No.
No.
D for done. Held up well under stiff competition, which means considered for a ribbon.
Yes.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta. So I guess one of the reasons I wanted to do this is it's not scary.
No.
Like, I didn't get any information that I really wasn't.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh, I had no idea that my binding was jacked
Finding
up.
needed help. Really? Yeah, I kind of knew that. So, and it's not scary. And here's the deal, too. I mean, if you enter a show and they give you judges' comments and you don't want to hear anything about your quilt, throw them out. You don't have to keep them.
Right. Pick up your quilt, your judges' comments, turn around, walk out of the building, drop them in the trash on your way out.
Yep. You don't have to read them.
Yep.
There's no rules. I think the best thing about having your quilt in a show is just going to see it hang. It's just so cool to see your quilt hanging there. That's really, and honestly, my favorite quilt that was hanging in the show was Coffee's Not My Cup of Tea, and it didn't win any ribbons. And it's because it's Mike's favorite, so, and it's the one, honestly, I spent the most time on.
That's because it's freaking huge. And you hand-pieced it.
And I hand-pieced it, right, exactly. And I like it. I just think it's a great quilt. So, anyway. And it didn't win any ribbons, but I got to take lots of pictures of it hanging in the show. I took more pictures of that one than I did the other two.
All right. So have any of you ever entered a quilt show, and have you read your judges' comments? Let us know if you've got anything interesting or intriguing you learned. Leave a comment on the blog or on the YouTube episode. And that's all we have for this episode. Today's show was made possible by Ink and Arrow Fabrics, because fabric should be fun. Learn more about them and their fun fabrics at inkandarrowfabrics.com. And don't forget to enter the giveaway.
We'd like to thank 77 Peaches Big Think Productions for helping produce The Stitch. You can find their links on our website, thestitchtvshow.com. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, please email us at info@thestitchtvshow.com.
If you've enjoyed the show, please like it on YouTube. Share your thoughts on this episode's topics on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Google+. Tag us with #TheStitchTVShow. Don't forget to enter the giveaway, Ink and Arrow Fabric Bundle, on our website before August 9th, 2017, if you're binging from the future. Our next virtual stitch-in is Friday, August 18th at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern, broadcast on our channel here on YouTube and on our blog. My podcast, Hip to Be a Square, is out Fridays at hiptobeasquarepodcast.com or on iTunes or Google Play. And the Celebrity Soft Pants Stitch-In episodes have started. They are also available on our website and on YouTube.
You can email us with questions or comments at info@thestitchtvshow.com or buy our patterns at shop.thestitchtvshow.com.
All those details and more can be found on our website,
thestitchtvshow.com.
Tune in next time for more quilting chat with friends.